Hey, Pete here for Velocity RC Magazine, and as you can see, we've got the brand new Hoss 4x4 VXL, the latest monster truck from Traxxas. Now, if you want to put this in the smallest possible nutshell, you could say it's the monster truck version of the Rustler 4x4 stadium truck. But it's not just a body, wheel, and tire swap. Traxxas has made quite a few differences in the specs for the Hoss versus the Rustler 4x4. And for a closer look at all of those, we're going to go ahead and get this one out of the box. Let's talk dimensions first. The Hoss shares its front and rear suspension with the Rustler 4x4 and has the same 11.6-inch wheelbase. The Hoss is 4 millimeters wider than the Rustler because its tires bulge at the sidewalls, but for all intents and purposes, the Hoss and Rustler 4x4 have the same footprint. Back to those tires. The Hoss wears the new sledgehammer tread design, which, as you can see, is motocross inspired and very aggressive. Traxxas molds the tires in a firm compound so the tall knobs won't tear and to help the tread hold up to street running. They are quite a bit larger than the Rustler 4x4's Talon EXT tires and roll about 3 inches farther with each revolution. And so, you might expect the Hoss VXL to be geared lower than the Rustler, but it's actually geared higher. Why higher? Well, if we take a look at the electronics, we find the new Velineon 540 XL motor. As you can see, it's a lot longer than the standard Velineon motor. That extra length accommodates a longer rotor, and that means more torque. Torque to spin the big tires, and a taller gear ratio. The Rustler and the Hoss 4x4s both have a 54-tooth spur gear, but the Hoss gets a 14-tooth pinion, a 3-tooth jump up from the Rustler's 11-tooth gear. We can spot some changes to the speed control too. It's the tried and true VXL 3S as used in Traxxas' other 3-cell rated VXL models. But for Hoss duty, it gets a cooling fan as standard equipment and larger 6.5mm connectors. Like other Traxxas speed controls, it arrives in sport mode for full forward, brake, and reverse control. Or you can select race mode and lock out reverse. And if you want to hand the Hoss over to a new or less skilled driver for a spin, you can choose training mode to limit speed and power by 50%. The servo is the 2075 model, which cranks with 125 ounce-inches of torque and is the most powerful servo Traxxas offers as standard equipment. They do offer more powerful optional servos, but for a standard factory spec servo, the 2075 is Traxxas' best. In the drivetrain department, the Hoss shares its steel ring and pinion gears, silicone-filled differentials, heavy-duty drive shafts, and aluminum center shaft with the Rustler 4x4. But there is one big departure. Instead of a slipper clutch with a plastic spur gear, the Hoss gets a torque biasing center drive unit with a steel spur gear. The center drive is a differential, but it's filled with very thick fluid that makes the unit very resistant to diffing out. You get the handling benefits of a center differential, but the Hoss won't dump power to the front wheels when they have less traction than the rears. That means the front tires won't balloon in loose conditions or when you're riding a wheelie, for example. Now let's look at the chassis, which is new for the Hoss. It's lifted like a Stampede 4x4 chassis, but it's longer. It also integrates the receiver box directly into the chassis, reducing the truck's parts count and complexity. The clip-in battery strap is a signature Traxxas feature. It doesn't require any clips or thumb screws that could be lost, and there are no Velcro straps to fuss with. It just clicks into place, which is nice. A wheelie bar is standard, and oil-filled Ultra Shocks do the damping. X-rings keep the oil inside the plastic bodies, and the caps mount on pivot balls so there's no binding with suspension action. The quick-release body comes off with a pull after you open the latch, and the elimination of body clips is definitely a great feature. The reinforcing structure inside the body toughens it up considerably. Making the body more rigid also helps the self-righting system do its thing as it rocks the truck back onto its wheels if you park it on its roof. Traxxas specs the TQI transmitter, which gives you the option of installing the Traxxas Link Bluetooth module. This lets you use your iOS or Android device and the Traxxas Link app to program and adjust the radio, create telemetry dashboards, manage model memory, and more. It's a powerful system and well worth the $40 for the Bluetooth module. And that is the Hoss 4x4 VXL, the latest brushless monster truck from Traxxas. As for how it drives, well, that's going to be a follow-up video after I get the Hoss photographed for the next issue of Velocity, so stay tuned. But I don't expect any surprises. The Traxxas 4x4 DNA is very well sorted out, and the 3-cell Velineon power system is a proven performer. As far as benchtop impressions go, it is a very solid truck and I think a great value. At $480, the Hoss 4x4 VXL is $80 more than the Stampede 4x4 VXL, and that $80 goes a long way. What you'll get with the Hoss, but not the Stampede, includes heavy-duty composite arms. These are arms made of the same material Traxxas uses for the X-Max, Max, and E-Revo arms. You get extreme heavy-duty drive shafts instead of regular heavy-duty shafts. You get the steel spur gear on the torque biasing center drive unit instead of a plastic spur gear on a slipper clutch. You get the fan-cooled speed control with 6.5mm connectors, high torque XL motor, the quick release clipless body with internal reinforcement, the new sledgehammer tires, and the Hoss has an extra inch of wheelbase compared to the Stampede 4x4, so it is a lot. But there is one more thing I wish Traxxas had included as standard equipment, and that's the Metal Gear version of the 2075 servo. But I can understand why they didn't. As equipped, the Hoss sits in the sweet spot, price-wise, between the Stampede 4x4 and the Max, and a Metal Gear servo would likely bump the price higher than Traxxas wants it to go. The Hoss does have an integrated servo saver, so we'll just see how the plastic gear servo holds up. Thanks for watching. I'll get action video and driving impressions up as soon as I can. Until then, please like and subscribe and hit the bell for new video notifications. And definitely click the link in the description to subscribe to Velocity RC Magazine. For just $9.99, you'll get new issues all year, plus all 40 back issues on PDF. Thanks for watching. See you soon.